So again, for plant life, we did the second part. Now we're doing the last part of the natural world from the Barron's vocabulary for the IELTS. So plant life in the Taklimankan desert, right? What words we are looking at? Look for the following words as you read the passage. Match each words with its correct definition. So here we have some words here. Before we do it, let me give you some rough meanings, right? If you know what ideas are there. Accumulate means इकट्ठा करना. Adapt is खुद को कोई नई चीज के हिसाब से मिक्स करना, वहां पे सेटल होना, एडजस्ट करना is adapt. Determine यानी डिसाइड करना, कोई चीज को तय करना. Dilute यानी पतला करना, कोई चीज की क्वालिटी को कमजोर कर देना. डाइवर्स यहाँ पे जो फैला हुआ है वैरायटी है. इवापोरेशन इज जब पानी गर्मी में हवा में ऊपर चला जाता है, दैट इज इवापोरेशन, राइट. एक्सट्रीम यानी बहुत ज्यादा. नेक्स्ट इज फ्रिंज यानी कोई चीज के किनारे पे, दैट इज फ्रिंज. किनारा, दैट इज फ्रिंज. मैकेनाइज यानी टू गिव समथिंग machines and make it mechanical, that is mechanized. Minimize यानी कम करना. Moisture यानी गीलापन. Beige, you can say beige also. Occupy means कोई जगह या कोई चीज को स्पेस को लेना, that is occupy. Prolific is जो बहुत प्रोडक्टिव होता है, that is prolific. Resilient ये हमने लास्ट में रिसेंटली डिस्कस किया था, आई थिंक आफ्टरनून बैच में. रेजिलिएंट का मीनिंग क्या होता है? जो कोई भी चीज को सहन कर सकता है. नेक्स्ट इज स्पार्श यानी बहुत कम छोटे मात्रा में, दैट इज स्पार्श. स्ट्रेसर यानी जो चीज स्ट्रेस क्रिएट करती है, मुसीबतें खड़ी करती है. 17th वन इज स्विंग का क्या मीनिंग होता है? एक झूलना, दैट इज स्विंग. और स्विंग का दूसरा मीनिंग है एक बड़ा सा बदलाव. थ्राइव यानी कोई ऐसी जगह पे रहना जहां पे आप बहुत अच्छे से हेल्दी तरह से रह सकते हो, यू आर लिविंग इन गुड वे, सो दैट इज थ्राइविंग, राइट. अच्छे से आगे बढ़ना. फूलना फलना, क्या बोलते हैं हम उसको? फूलना फलना मीन्स थ्राइव. ट्रांजिशनल इज रिलेटेड टू चेंज, जो बदलता है, दैट इज ट्रांजिशनल. वायलेंट यानी हिंसक, जो दूसरों का विनाश करता है, दैट इज वायलेंट. Are we ready to match the meanings? So let's match them with the correct one. First one, accumulate. Give me the meaning. धीरे धीरे इकट्ठा करना. F or C? Answer is C. Adapt. खुद को कोई जगह के हिसाब से चेंज करना, दैट इज टू चेंज टू फिट अ सिचुएशन और एनवायरनमेंट. हमारे पास वायर का प्लग, जब मशीन का प्लग कनेक्ट नहीं होता है तो हमारे पास एडेप्टर रहता है. रिमेंबर एडेप्टर. डिटरमाइन यानी तय करना.
R.
वेरी गुड, इट इज एन R. व्हाट इज डाइल्यूट? पतला करना. To make weaker by mixing with water, right? Next one, diverse, भिन्न प्रकार का. H. Diverse is what? Varied in many kinds, बहुत सारे तरह का. Evaporation, come on. P. Evaporation is P. The change from liquid to gas, loss of water to the air. What is extreme? Severe and very difficult. What is fringe? The edge of something, that is fringe. What is mechanize or mechanism? Mechanism यानी क्या हुआ? B. Behavior to deal with difficult situation, that is mechanize. Or mechanism. Mechanism means behavior to deal with difficult situation. That's a mechanism. Moisture.
K.
Wait, I think I selected the wrong one. हाँ, so 9th one is mechanism, and then 10th one is E, right? To reduce to the least possible amount, यानी कम करना, सबसे कम करना, that is minimize. Next, moisture.
K.
Okay, right. Moisture is wetness or water. Occupy. Occupy is here. To be in a place or to exist in some place, that is exist. Prolific. Prolific is T. Producing a lot of something. It's prolific. Resilient. We did this word. Resilient is tough and able to endure difficult conditions. Sahan kar sakta hai, that is resilient. Sparse. Choti matra mein, that is small in numbers or amount, that is very sparse. Stressor.
S.
S. Stressor is something that causes great difficulties. Swing. Swing is a quiet, a sudden or a big change. Thrive is F. Thrive means to grow well, thriving. Transitional, related to change, that is relating to change from one type to another. And last one, violent. Violent is strong, sudden and destructive. That is a J. Are we clear with all the words that we learned today?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now get ready to answer some questions. First, we are going to do a reading passage. Ready? So reading, plant life in the Taklimankan Desert. The Taklimankan Desert, second in size only to Sahara's, Africa's Sahara Desert. Would say is chota, occupies some 337,000 square kilometers, right, of northwestern China. So the desert is in China, in area about the size of Finland. इतना बड़ा desert है. Sparse rainfall, यानी बहुत कम rainfall होता है वहाँ पे. Daily temperature swings, यानी बड़े-बड़े बदलाव आते हैं up to 20 degrees Celsius, and violent sandstorms, यानी रेत के तूफान आते हैं. Make it one of the most extreme environments on earth. It's very dangerous. 85% of the Taklimankan Desert consists of shifting sand dunes. वो जो मिट्टी के ढेर होते हैं वो हवा से शिफ्ट होते हैं. Some up to 250 meters tall that are largely free of vegetation. वहां पे कोई पेड़ पौधे हैं नहीं. Yet transitional areas जहां पे transition होता है between the open desert and oasis on the desert fringe. Desert के किनारे जो oasis है जहां पे पानी होता है छोटा सा तालाब जैसा, that's an oasis. Support diverse plant forms, any a variety of plant forms that not only have adapted to the harsh condition but actually thrive there. यहाँ वहाँ के पेड़ पौधे सिर्फ वहाँ पे survive नहीं करते, लेकिन वो बहुत अच्छे से फूलते और फलते हैं. Successful desert plants are resilient. They are very strong to scorching summers. बहुत तेज जो गर्मी होती है उसको वो सहन कर सकते हैं. And frigid winter यानी winter में भी होते हैं. And drought जब पानी नहीं मिलता है. And high salt condition. यानी desert plants ऐसे plants होते हैं जो अच्छे से ये सब problems में survive करते हैं. The plant's principal defense is what? यानी वो कैसे खुद को बचाता है against these environmental stressors. ये जो problems है उसके लिए word है stressors. Consists of drawing in as much water as possible. यानी अंदर सबसे ज्यादा पानी खींचता है. While minimizing moisture loss, यानी moisture जो होता है वो बिल्कुल कम बाहर आता है plant में से. It's very dry. 3 Taklimankan plants, the popular Euphratica, the Tamarix ramasosima, and the Alagi sparsifolia. 3 names are there. Technical words represent some of the most diverse and prolific vegetation in the area. Diverse means ये सबसे अच्छे. Prolific यानी very productive and a huge range of vegetation in the area. Although they share many survival strategy, यानी उनकी survival strategy सबकी same जैसी है. Each has developed unique coping mechanism of its own. यानी ये चीज से संभलना उन्होंने सबने अपने हिसाब से अलग-अलग develop किया है. So the first one, the Euphrates poplar or the Populus euphratica, the only tall tree in the Taklimankan ecosystem, वहां पे सबसे लंबा जो पेड़ है, has an extensive root system. उसकी जो जड़ें है वो इतनी अंदर है that allows it to absorb water far from the standing tree. यानी पेड़ के बहुत नीचे तक वो पानी खींचता है. P. euphratica controls evaporation by opening and closing the stomata or tiny pores on the leaf surface. वो पत्तों से moisture को खींचता है in response to the amount of moisture being lost through the trees through the surrounding air. यानी पत्तों से जो पानी moisture जाता है वो वापस खींच लेता है. These stomata generally remain open during the day. यानी जो pores यानी उसके जो छेद रहते हैं वो खुले रहते हैं while the plant conducts photosynthesis. Now I think we have all learned what is photosynthesis, how they produce food and energy for the plant from the sunlight. P. euphratica can endure high salt conditions in the soil. यानी high salt को भी सहन कर सकता है. It takes in unlimited amount of salt. वो salt को खींचता है through the roots up to the stem. यानी उसकी जड़ों से अंदर वो salt जाता है and into the leaves where it dilutes the normally toxic salt. Salt को पतला करता है by increasing the number and volume of its cell. And then the Tamarix ramosissima, a small tree, छोटी सी tree है with needle-like leaves, यानी वो सुई जैसी leaves, commonly known as the tamarisk or salt cedar, takes in enormous amount of water, पानी खींचता है via far-reaching root, उसके भी जड़ें हैं, many times the size of the plant above ground, यानी वो plant से खुद की size से बहुत लंबी उससे बड़ी जड़ें हैं. And like P. euphratica, tamarisk can naturally determine, means वो plant खुद decide करता है when to close the stomata, यानी वो अपने holes को कैसे बंद करना है to inhibit evaporation को रोकने के लिए and regulate photosynthesis. Are we clear with the whole passage? So here are your questions. Oh, it's not over yet. Wait. The tamarisk has a high tolerance for salty conditions and even produces its own salt. ये salt भी बनाता है, which accumulates in special glands between the leaves and then releases onto leaf surface. Leaves dropping to the ground make the soil more saline. वापस उसको salty बनाते हैं, मिट्टी को saline or salty, giving tamarisk a competitive advantage over less salt tolerant plant. यानी फिर वो जगह पे क्या होता है, because वो मिट्टी पूरी salt वाली हो जाती है, तो दूसरे प्लांट की जगह पे यही प्लांट अकेला सर्वाइव करता है. And the Alhagi sparsifolia, spiny यानी कांटे वाला shrub, thrives, यानी it survives in the Taklimankan desert even though it uses large amounts of water. उसको पानी चाहिए फिर भी वो डेजर्ट में सर्वाइव करता है, especially during the summer months. With only a few wispy roots in the upper soil, यानी soil में थोड़े ही roots है, it is unaffected by occasional flooding. उसको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है पानी आता है तो. Most of its roots reach down deep, where they take up water from as far as 16 meters below the ground. Unlike the Euphratica and Ramosissima, which open and close stomata according to condition on the leaf surface, यानी ये लोग अपने spores खोलते हैं पानी खींचने के लिए. A. sparsifolia does so according to the hydraulic conductance, that is the ease with which it takes up groundwater. यानी वो पानी में कर जमीन में ही पानी खींच लेता है. Although desert plants have adapted for their own survival, they also help protect their ecosystem. आजू-बाजू के ecosystem को भी protect करते हैं by stabilizing sand dunes, preventing erosion, यानी मिट्टी को सड़ने से निकलने से बचाते हैं, presenting a barrier to sandstorms and conserving biodiversity. So they're very important for the desert. So answer the questions about plant life in the Taklimankan desert. Choose the correct letter A, B or C. Most of the Taklimankan desert is covered with what? It's covered with tamarisk, it is covered with spiny plants, it is covered with sand dunes, or it is covered with diverse plant life. सबसे ज्यादा क्या है वहां पे? मिट्टी के ढेर है वहां पे. The answer is sand dunes. How do we know it is the answer here? Can you see? See, 85% of the Taklimankan desert consists of shifting sands. So what is it? Majority of it contains sand dunes. Sand dunes का simple meaning है मिट्टी के ढेर. आप desert को देखो तो आपको वही चीज दिखेगी और कुछ दिखेगा नहीं. A mountain of sand dune. That's a sand dune. Plants in the Taklimankan desert जो है, they grow only in areas about 250 meters high. उसी एरिया में उगते हैं. They thrive in extreme conditions. यानी बहुत बुरी हालत में वो survive करते हैं. They are not very hardy. यानी बहुत मजबूत नहीं होते हैं. और mostly tall trees. वो लंबे लंबे पेड़ होते हैं. What is the answer? B or D? B. They thrive. They survive in bad conditions. Environmental stressors जो है, जो problems देते हैं in the Taklimankan desert include कौन सी चीज आती है? Sparse sunlight, बहुत कम sunlight गिरती है. Lack of salt in the soil, मिट्टी में salt नहीं है. Extreme temperature, यानी बहुत गर्मी पड़ती है. Heavy periods of heavy rainfall. Obviously, it is extreme temperatures. बाकी सब चीजें नहीं होती. So now, which of the following mechanisms used by plants to survive in the desert are mentioned in the passage? इसमें से कौन सी चीजें mention की गई है? Choose 4 answers from the list below. We have a total of G. So you have to select उसमें से कौन सी जो चीजें हैं वो mention की गई है. Questions 4 to 7. So you have to say कि ये जो option है वो given है, false है या फिर it is there. First one. Having strong roots can hold on during violent sandstorms. Sandstorm में बहुत मिट्टी का जब आता है तो violent sandstorm से बचाता है. ऐसा कुछ दिया गया है. It doesn't say that the roots can help you survive. It says the roots are helpful in collecting water. So this is not our answer. Closing pores जो होते हैं, यानी उसके अंदर जो छेद होते हैं वो बंद हो जाते हैं, तो उससे to minimize the loss of moisture, उससे पानी का loss नहीं होता. ये हमने पढ़ा अभी. I have 36 people and nobody is answering. Online people, what's the answer? B. Did we read this or not? दस उतेला छे. Occupying a place in the shade, यानी अगर उनको जगह छाव में मिले, of a larger plant to avoid scorching desert sun. ऐसा कुछ दिया गया है हमें कि कोई भी छोटा प्लांट होता है वो बड़े प्लांट के छाए में, so it's not mentioned.
No, not given.
Not given. Diluting the salt that the plant takes in, plant salt को पतला कर देता है खुद ही. Is it given? Yes.
Yes.
Having large root systems, बड़े-बड़े root systems जो होते हैं, that can reach water far from the plant. Plant से बहुत दूर-दूर तक पानी खींच सकता है. Yes. अंदर but ये इतना फैलाएला हो. That is there, no? And adding salt to the soil to minimize competition from other plants. ये खुद मिट्टी में salt डालता है तो दूसरे plant survive ना कर पाए. Yes. Accumulating water in the leaves of the plant, वो actually ऐसा नहीं करते हैं. So that is not.
No.
Right. So these are the 4 things that we read. So we learned many words. Write the words that are new to you. And now we are going to do word families. So look at the word families. You may write it down. You will see them again and again in the IELTS test. First word. The word is adaptation, adapt and adaptable. Adaptation is the process. Here is an example of this noun. Plants in the Taklimankan desert have adaptations that allow them to live in the dry, salty conditions. Adapt is the verb. One way that plants adapt to the dry desert is by developing deep root system. They adapt to it. What is the adjective? Adaptable. Most plant species are not adaptable to a desert environment. You see the difference for all 3 words? Diversity, diversification, diversify, and diverse. Diversify, we generally see this word in magazine articles where they say कि आपकी income जो होती है उसको अलग-अलग जगह invest करना है. So we are supposed to diversify our income. So here, diversity is a variety. There is a great diversity of plant life on the fringe of the Taklimankan desert. Diversification. Change in climate can result in species diversification. Species के अंदर difference आ जाता है. कैसे आ जाएगा? Because of the change in climate. यानी हमारे पास एक एनिमल था बहुत सालों पहले, उसका नाम था the wolf. Wolf was only there in the very cold region. Wolf ने कई हजारों साल पहले ये देखा कि humans के पास खाना है, उनके पास आग है और उनके पास प्रोटेक्शन. वुल्फ ने डिसाइड किया कि हमें ह्यूमन से दोस्ती करनी, तो वो वुल्फ आदमी के पास आ गया एंड द वुल्फ लेट द ह्यूमन डोमेस्टिकेट यानी इट बिकेम आवर फ्रेंड. दैट इज व्हाई द डॉग इज आवर फ्रेंड. सो वुल्फ के साथ साथ क्या हुआ, वुल्फ बिकेम आवर फ्रेंड एंड वुल्फ की प्रजाति चेंज होती गई और अलग अलग क्लाइमेट में जब वुल्फ अलग अलग जगह चले गए तो वो कन्वर्ट होके हजारों साल में डॉग्स बने. अभी गर्म प्रदेश में डॉग्स के बाल बड़े नहीं होते हैं, लेकिन जो ठंडी में जो बड़े होते हैं तो उनके बाल बड़े होते हैं. टॉकिंग अबाउट डॉग्स ओनली. सो यहाँ पे अभी नाउ देयर आर मेनी इडियट्स जो बड़े बड़े बाल वाले डॉग्स को इंडिया में लेके आते हैं बिकॉज दे आर नॉट, देयर बॉडी इज नॉट रेडी फॉर इट. दे हैव ऑलरेडी चेंज्ड इट, यू नो, दे हैव टेकन थाउजेंड्स ऑफ इयर्स टू इवॉल्व. यानी द डॉग्स हियर दे हैव अडैप्टेड टू इट, दैट इज व्हाई दे आर लाइक दैट. सो देन यू हैव टू कीप दैट डॉग इन एसी. That's the worst thing. यानी आप environment और nature के साथ खिलवाड़ कर रहे हैं. So that is diversification. Do you understand? And diversify as climate changes, plant species in an area may diversify if conditions improve. And diverse. The diverse ways that plants adapt to desert conditions makes a fascinating study. Makes it a very interesting study. Now we have extreme, extreme, and extremely. Noun is also extreme. Adjective is also extreme, and extremely is adverb. Temperatures in the Taklimankan desert reach an extreme during the hot summer days. And an extreme. Many plants cannot endure the extreme heat of the desert. And extremely. The weather in a desert is usually extremely dry. Few more words. Here the word is resilient. We just discussed it yesterday. Look at resilience is a quality. The resilience of certain plants allows them to thrive in the desert. उसको survive करने में help करता. Resilient. Dry plants are resilient to heat and dryness. वो सहन कर सकते हैं. Resiliently. Desert plant grow resiliently in the heat. यानी वो बहुत मजबूती से आगे बढ़ते हैं, grow करते हैं. Now we have the word stress. तो इसमें हमने सीखा stress, stressor, stress and stressful. A long period of dryness causes a lot of stress to plants. The main stressor in a desert is lack of rain. Heat and drought both stress plants. Certain plants thrive in the desert despite the stressful condition. We're learning word families. Next is violence, violent and violently. Violence and hinsa. The violence of sandstorms keep many plants from thriving in the desert. Violent and hinsak. Violent winds tear up many plants or cover them with sand. And violently. The winds blow violently during a sandstorm. You are going to watch it. You are going to watch it. So the winds blow violently during a sandstorm. क्या होता है उससे? बहुत aggressively wind blow होती है. Now last part here, word practice. Get ready. Choose the correct word family member from the list below to complete each blank. So 6 questions we have. You have to select the right parts of speech. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. So desert plants have a variety of dash. Adaptation, adapts or adapted. They have a variety of
adaptations.
Yes, they have a variety of adaptation that allow them to endure the desert environment. Because the desert is dash dry.
Extremely dry.
Extremely dry. Plants need to be able to take in as much water as possible when it rains and to store the water for a long time. Social roots, special root systems and type of leaves enable them to do this. Another source of dash in the desert is a high. So another source of
Stress.
in the desert is the high temperature. So desert plants need to have dash.
Resilience.
Resilience. Very good. That's the quality. We should have resilience. छोटे बच्चे होते हैं, they are very resilient. अगर छोटे बच्चे गिर जाते हैं, आप डांटते हो तो वो भूल के वापस वो वापस नॉर्मल हो जाते हैं, वापस हंसते हैं. हम लोगों को किसी ने मार दिया, कुछ कर दिया तो हम 2 दिन तक मुंह फुला के घूमेंगे, मुंह उतार के लटका के घूमेंगे. So we are not resilient. Small children are resilient. Death storms can occur in a desert.
Violent.
And plants with strong roots will be able to endure the storms. Considering the difficult conditions in a desert, the dash of plants can be found. That is true. That is truly amazing.
Diversity.
So what can we find here? The diversity of plants that can be found there is truly amazing. All right, so last part here, get ready for this dictionary skill, and then we'll do a small listening at the end of this session. What is a dictionary skill? Look at different meanings. Many words have more than one meaning. So read the definition below and read the sentence and write the correct letter definition for each sentence. So वहाँ पे word है हमारे पास swing. Swing के multiple meanings. A sudden or big change is a swing. Back and forth movement. आगे पीछे झूलना is also swing. The hanging seat that moves back and forth. जो झूला होता है उसको भी हम बोलते हैं swing. तो first one कौन सा है? A, B or C? It's a C. Very good. The children played on the swing all afternoon. Second one, after a rainstorm in the desert, there is a noticeable swing back to life. It's an A. Right? It's a big change back to life. And the swing of the branches in the breeze make a creaking sound. जब वो झूलते हैं. Got it? That is a swing. Now listening. So right answers in no more than one word for each answer. We have a total of 4 questions, right? So Takli Mankan desert plants. Answer the questions.
Unit 1, Natural World. Plant life in the Taklamakan. Listen to a class discussion about plants in the Taklamakan desert.
So what does it say? Many plants live in the dash areas. कौन से areas में रहते हैं? Stressors, any problems, little rain, dash temperature and rapid dash. And what is the adaptations? Adaptations यानी वो कैसे handle करते हैं? Ability to close the pores, यानी वो खुद के छेद बंद करते हैं, and large root systems to dash water. पानी को क्या करते हैं? बचा के रखते हैं. So answer the questions 1 to 4.
We've looked at plant life in various deserts around the world. Let's talk today about plants in the Taklamakan desert.
What I understood from the reading is that there aren't a lot of plants throughout the Taklamakan desert, but that many plants live in the transitional area on the desert fringe.
That's exactly correct. Conditions in the desert are extremely harsh, but around the edges, plants have been able to adapt and thrive, and some species are actually quite prolific. Of course, the environment there is still extreme, and the plants have some interesting adaptations.
There are still a lot of stressors on the desert fringe. The rain there is sparse, right?
That's true. The desert fringe is very dry and is subject to extreme temperature swings, and these conditions can cause plants a lot of stress.
Another stressor is, because of the dry air, there's rapid evaporation. So it's difficult for the plants to hold on to the water they take in.
I read that some plants are actually able to determine when they've lost enough moisture and have the ability to close their pores so they don't lose more.
Yes, that's one of the interesting desert plant adaptations. Another way plants thrive in the desert is by having large root systems so that they can accumulate water taken from deep in the ground.
So answer the questions. First one. Transitional, right? Second one. Extreme. Rapid.
Evaporation.
Evaporation.
Large water to
Accumulate.
Yes, accumulate water. Right? All clear so far? So we have a table here. Right? So this is a chart with rainfall. Sahara Desert, Taklimankan Desert, and the Great Basin. Right? And then we have task 2. Okay, so that brings me to the end of this vocab session.